Welcome to the Game Forum. I'm Lindsay. This week, I'm doing our top 5 PlayStation VR games. At number 5 is Superhot. You should definitely check it out if you haven't played it before. It's been out quite a while on the PlayStation and other peripherals. It has a very distinctive graphical look to it. Very simplistic. But it doesn't really distract from the overall game at all. In fact, with some of the limited graphics of the PlayStation VR, it really works well. In this game, you're going to be going through and taking out various enemies with various weapons. Could be anything from bottles on the ground to guns you pick up, knives, shuriken, all sorts of stuff. It's got a pretty good variety. You can grab weapons from enemies, use them against them. Different weapons have different amounts of shots in it too. Anytime you're hit, you have to restart from the beginning of a section. But the game moves in the pace at which you move. So if you stop, everything stops. This gives you a second to kind of think and analyze the situation you're in. But even looking around can make the enemies move slowly too. This is a game you can definitely go at a slower pace at, or a super fast, ridiculous pace. Essentially, you could play the entire game in bullet time if you wanted to. At number 4 is Wipeout, the Omega Collection. This is actually an HD re-release of a collection of PS3 era games. I always loved the Wipeout franchise and owned a lot of these games back on the PlayStation 3. They actually did a free patch update to the PlayStation 4 version to allow it to be VR compatible. I actually already owned this before the update, but as soon as it came out, I definitely had to hop in and try it. It made it a whole new experience. This is definitely one you have to try with all the motion sickness settings turned off. It makes it very, very different. The motion settings turned on is very blinding and very limiting, but with them turned off, you really get a heightened sense of speed. I still remember the first time I hopped into a ship with all the settings turned off. Just sitting there feeling the ship sway back and forth was like, oh man, this is going to be crazy. It is some very intense, very high speed, fast paced gameplay, but it is exhilarating. This is one that's really going to get your heart rate up. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're into racing games. If you love racing games and you have a PlayStation VR, this is one you have to buy. It also has a lot of different modes in it and gives you a good variety of things to do and play. At number 3 is Dead Hungry. This is one that I would not normally play if it was not in VR. It's a food truck zombie apocalypse simulator game, if that makes any sense. Essentially what you're trying to do is make food fast enough to feed the hordes of zombies as they come to you, to cure them and turn them back into humans. The graphics might be a little lackluster, but don't get me wrong, this game is downright fun. It's up for a good time if you're by yourself or especially with friends. The frantic pace at which zombies continue to come and which you have to increasingly feed more and more is a lot of fun. Some of the creations it asks you to do are just plain crazy. You can build huge sandwiches with pizzas, condiments, all sorts of stuff. As you progress throughout the game, you continue to unlock more and more foods you can cook to stop the zombie menace. Number 2 is Firewall 0 Hour. This one I've had a lot of fun with and was really excited about before it came out. It's effectively Call of Duty in VR and does a really good job of it. This team has had constant updates to it and has put a lot of love into this game, and you can really feel that. This one you can only play with the aim controller, but is well worth it. There's been so many times where I've been able to have shots and do things that I could never do in Call of Duty just because of the mechanics of doing something in VR. Like shooting over rails, shooting around walls. It makes for a very unique combat experience. It uses the operator system like in Rainbow Six Siege. Each character has a different attribute that's special to them. You also get to pick a second attribute for everyone to help kind of customize it to your playstyle. I like this. It doesn't make any operator too overpowered than any other one. It really balances the system out. Another thing I really like about this game is weapon customization. There's a lot of different weapons you can play around with and have fun with. Everything from shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, and just being able to hold it in your hand and look at it is a lot of fun. Plus, there's lots of attachments you can add on too, so it gives you a good incentive to keep playing and keep earning things. At number 1 is I Expect You to Die. This game I had a lot of fun with. I didn't expect to like it quite so much. I've played a couple escape rooms in real life, and they're pretty good, but this one just really pulls it all together in an experience that's very unique to itself. It effectively combines an escape room with a 007 1970s aesthetic. You'll be finding yourself trying to break into certain things, break out of certain things. Each level does a really good job of differentiating itself from the next. Everything from submarines to on the side of a skyscraper to a snow-covered cabin in the woods and even an evil villain's lair. This is one game I could not stop playing. I really enjoyed it. I went through and got all the collectibles for every level. It's just a lot of fun to mess around with in VR. And that's my top 5 PlayStation VR games. Thank you very much for tuning in this week, and check back for more content.